My name is Katie Umphres. I'm a physical therapist at Benefis. I've been practicing here for about 9 years. I specialize in orthopedics and obtained a residency in orthopedics after I got done with graduate school. Happy to help with anything I can. I also offer a variety of services, including blood flow restriction training, and specialize a little bit more with the athletic population. Step count is a really nice way to track activity. It's extremely user friendly, so it's definitely a great option. And there are a lot of devices that are easily accessible, including most cell phones, that will track step count. The hard part is step count will vary greatly depending on the individual. A lot depends on your work activity, hobbies, recreational activities. There are some people who have just more sedentary jobs, so step count isn't always a great representation of physical exercise or activity level. Because if you have a really sedentary job, but you're really physically active for exercise, your step count may be a little lower than somebody who has a more strenuous job where they're up on their feet more. In general, though, although there's no official guidelines for step count, the kind of generally accepted step count is 10,000 steps a day. What I personally like to do is look at an individual's step count, and you can either do the step count throughout the day, or you can take your exercise or physical activity step count. Either way, it's going to give you a good number or starting point. And then from there, I like to increase by 500 to 1,000 steps a day for at least a week or two. And then once you know that that goal is achievable, you can continue to progress from there. Some good things to keep in mind if you're using step count: roughly 2,000 steps is about a mile. And so if at any point you decide to change how you're tracking your activity and you want to go distance versus step count, you have that conversion. We know from research that it's not necessarily about getting all of your activity done in one part of the day. It's extremely beneficial to have shorter segments of exercise scattered throughout the day. You can still get the exact same benefits as someone who just has one exercise time or exercise routine that they go through. Overall, though, we know that having a walking program and increasing your step count greatly reduces your overall mortality rate and improves your quality of life. I think for most people, we want to be as active as possible for as long as possible. So looking at your step count or having a walking routine is a great way to do it. For those of you who like to have a little bit more set guidelines or actual numbers to go off of, the World Health Organization and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services do have guidelines for adults. In general, you want to shoot for 150 to 300 minutes of moderate intensity activity, or 75 to 150 minutes of vigorous intensity exercise, and that's over the course of a week. It's also ideal if you can incorporate at least 2 days of strength training into your routine to help keep your bones and muscles strong. At this point in time, Benefis does not offer any senior-specific classes. We're very fortunate, though, in Great Falls to have a lot of resources at our disposal. So for Benefis employees specifically, we do have access to a very affordable gym membership offered through the hospital, and that's at the either North Tower location or West Campus. So again, that's for Benefis employees only. For other individuals in the Great Falls community, you still have some wonderful resources available, especially if you're considered a senior citizen. For individuals ages 65 and older, there are several participating gyms in Great Falls, and even if you're not in Great Falls, if you've got a gym in your community, I'd still check with them to see if you qualify. Depending on your insurance, you can qualify for a free gym membership either through the Silver Sneakers program or the Active Renew program. Whether you call the gym that you're interested in and ask if your insurance participates with that program, or you call your insurance to see if you qualify for that program, either way, you'll get a good answer. So again, that's for individuals 65 and older. In Great Falls specifically, we have access to the Great Falls High School pool. There are several different options throughout the week for open swim, lap swim, and even aquatic exercise programs. Through the Great Falls Senior Citizen Center, there are several exercise classes that are offered, typically about 4 days a week for a very affordable cost. We've got the Great Falls College MSU Lifelong Learning Program, which typically offers Tai Chi or yoga classes. And then Dr. Lai has a Tai Chi club in town. So all affordable options for those in the Great Falls community, a little bit more geared towards senior citizens, but you still have the options of some of this stuff even if you're not a senior citizen. If you're not in the Great Falls community, I would definitely look at your gym, see if your insurance company participates in any sort of program where you can get a free or discounted membership. And then your senior citizen center is always a really, really nice resource to look at. I think hip stiffness is a really challenging thing for a lot of individuals who have more of a sedentary job or sit a lot. One thing that I personally tend to not do as well with, and I think a lot of people forget about, is staying hydrated. Hydration is really important to make sure that we're keeping everything lubricated and moving as best as possible. It's good for our system overall. We're made up of mostly water, so it's really important to make sure you're staying hydrated. As long as you don't have any medical considerations or you haven't been told otherwise by your doctor, on average, you want to shoot for half of your body weight in ounces for water. So if you weigh 140 pounds, you want to try to shoot for 70 ounces of water a day. And it can seem like a lot. I think it's a lot most days. Start with a little bit and gradually add. You don't have to be perfect at it, but the more you can drink, the better hydrated you stay, and the healthier your joints will stay also. Some other considerations for those of you who have a desk job, maybe stiff hips or stiff knees, you've got the option of getting a desk that converts from a sitting position to a standing position. Something to keep in mind with that is the idea is movement. So I think as humans, we just don't do well sitting in one position for very long. So you want to have things spaced out so you can move frequently throughout the day, whether that's getting up and walking, whether that's changing your desk setup, if it's taking a flight of stairs, getting up and doing a few body weight exercises. Movement is the key. Another consideration with your desk, depending on where your chair is sitting, you want to try to get both feet firmly on the ground. If your chair has to be a little higher because of your monitor or desk setup, then you want to try to get some sort of a step stool underneath. So again, your feet can be flat on the ground. That's how we're going to best distribute our force and take pressure off of certain areas and again, kind of distribute it throughout the lower half of our body that's taking that pressure. Another thing that I like to think of, what position am I in when I'm getting stiff? If you're sitting, your hips are bent and your knees are bent. So the opposite of that is what I like to go for if I feel like I'm getting stiff. The opposite of bent is straight. So again, walking's a great way to get up, move around, take a flight of stairs if you've got it available, or even standing and doing some stretches where your knees are straight and your hips are straight can be really good. So if you stand up, kick your hip behind you, that can be a nice way to stretch out the front of your hips. Another one, although this is a position where your knees are bent, you can pull your heel to your bottom while you're standing. It's a nice way to stretch out the front of the hips also.
My name is Brian Knutson. I'm a doctor of physical therapy here at Benefis Outpatient Therapy. I've been practicing with Benefis for about 5 years now. I specialize in treating chronic pain, concussion, vestibular issues, and general orthopedics. When you start exercising, it is most important to find the thing that you find fun. If you try and start an activity that you do not enjoy, there's no way that you're going to adhere to it. So make sure that you're referencing your goals, the things that you enjoy in life, and find a friend that can also help. Definitely start slowly and progress slowly. Doing too much too fast creates a negative response. You'll feel maybe some undue soreness. And as humans, we do not enjoy that. We don't seek out negative experiences. So make sure that you're starting slowly. A good way to try to do that is what I call the rule of halves, which means whatever you think you can do on day one, cut it in half and start there. From there, progress very slowly over about 1 or 2 weeks. You can add some sets or reps or time or distance, whatever activity you're doing. Think about your motivation when you're starting out with an exercise program. Are you trying to gain physical health? Are you trying to manage your mental health? Do you have grandkids that you need to move around for? Are you falling more? Things like that are prime motivators to reference your goals and keep you on track. Be flexible and forgiving with yourself. There's been studies showing that if you try to adhere to a rigid exercise program, it won't go on as long. You won't be as adherent as if you're flexible. Say if you go to the gym at varied times throughout the day, or if you try and set a strict time that you go to the gym. It's best to be flexible with yourself. You'll find that you'll participate in your exercise program much more easily. Break your activity into manageable chunks. Katie had referenced going from 75 all the way up to 300 minutes of activity in a week, and that sounds like a lot, but the evidence is showing that if you break your activity into 5-minute chunks, 10-minute chunks, even throughout your day, there's no loss of benefit with that. Depending on your physical health, if you are nervous about starting an exercise program, physical therapy is a really wonderful way to get some professional guidance on what to do, and we're always here to help you. Staying active now will assist in your ability to remain active further into the future, and evidence is showing that active individuals have been shown to live beyond age 80 with half as much disability as well. So there's lots of benefits, not just including your physical and mental health. Vivifrail.com is a nice place to start as well. When you go to that site, you'll see these exercise wheels, and they range from A, B, C, or D depending on your activity level or ability. And it has a nice wheel of exercises with sets and repetitions for you to start with if you're looking for some more guidance. So when you're socializing on your break time, it's a great way to get involved and get active with each other. That can make things much more fun. So some ideas to do some activities together for fitness would be to take a brisk walk, maybe go up and down a flight of stairs. If you've got moves, you can put on a groovy jam and dance, or you can trial what we call an EMOM workout, every minute on the minute. You can choose 2 to 4 full body exercises, and every minute you start with one exercise. For about 30 to 45 seconds, you're working on that activity. At about 15 to 30 seconds left in the minute, you take some rest. At the start of the second minute, you'll move on to the next movement, and so on, and repeat that for a few rounds. It's a great way to get some moderate to high level activity. You'll notice that your heart rate gets up pretty quickly in just the matter of 5 to 10 minutes. And that's a nice way to start getting those movement chunks into your day. When you're dealing with knee arthritis and trying to move, it can be difficult because of some discomfort or pain that you feel and limitations in activities. But exercise and physical activity and even physical therapy is shown to be one of the strongest conservative interventions in managing knee osteoarthritis. Ideas, if you're unable to walk long distances, sometimes if land-based therapy is not working for you or you're feeling too uncomfortable with it, you can get in the pool or some water. As Katie mentioned, there are some programs available around town at the Peak and at the Great Falls High Pool, so consider participating in some of those. I referenced the rule of halves earlier. Start with half the distance that you feel like you could walk easily, and then progress from there over a period of 1 to 2 weeks. Trial the Vivifrail programming to start with a walking program. Depending on which wheel you choose, A has you start with 5 to 10 seconds of walking for 5 sets with rest between. That's a nice, easy way to start walking room distances. All the way up to level D, which has you walking 20 minutes, 2 sets. And you can go from A to B to C to D as you progress through those exercises.
For anybody who may have more specific questions for our physical therapy team, in the state of Montana, it's important to keep in mind that we're a direct access state. What that means for you as the consumer is as long as your insurance doesn't have any stipulations against it, you can come directly to a physical therapist, set up an appointment, and meet with us for an evaluation regarding your questions and concerns. It is important, however, to check with your insurance company and your policy. Every policy is a little bit different, so you want to make sure that you're doing everything according to your policy stipulations. If you have any concerns for physical therapy and you're interested in scheduling an appointment, you can call our front office staff. Our phone number is 731-8930. In Great Falls, we do have 3 different locations for adult physical therapy. We have the Orthopedic Center, we have the Peak, we have a satellite clinic there, and then at the Evergreen Mall, we also have a clinic. And then for anybody who's a little bit younger, we do have our pediatric department in our brand new Women and Children's Center.